Welcome to this video. In this video, we're gonna cover Amazon letters to shareholders 1997. It was the first year Amazon IPO'd, and this letter was written by Jeff Bezos. So the idea of these shareholder letters were to share the ideas that Amazon had and that they were using to build their company. And of course, they only could do so to the extent that competition allowed them. So they couldn't share any trade secrets, but it gave you the overall strategy that we're going to use. The reason for this letter is to help shareholders and investors make good and rational decisions when investing. And Amazon was not bold enough to say that this is the right strategy or the right investment vehicle, but it was what they believed. Amazon also knew that online sales was going to be a massive market. So from last year, 1996, to this year, 1997, when they published the letter to shareholders, they grew from 15 million to 148 million in revenue in 1 year. That's pretty wild. So in this letter, Jeff Bezos explains the philosophy that they use for investing. And the key philosophy they have is that it's all about the long term. And that's why this letter is called It's About the Long Term. So the fundamental measure of success would be how much shareholder value Amazon would generate in the long term. And focusing on the long term would have the decision making be skewed differently. So somebody who thinks about the long term thinks and weighs options very differently from somebody who thinks about the short term. And Jeff wanted to say this and clarify that this was gonna happen. And one of these strategies or things that they were focusing on was they were focusing on market leadership over short-term profitability. By becoming the market leader, Amazon would be able to get more profitability, high return on capital, and help them grow even faster. And the metrics Amazon would use to measure their market leadership would be customer and revenue growth. They would measure how many repeat customers they get, and they would measure the strength of the brand. And in order to expand this market leadership and retain it and gain it, they would do so by investing aggressively in expanding their operations, expanding their infrastructure, all to support the customer. And there we get to the next point. There is no business without the customer. Because there is no business without the customer, Amazon is relentless to focus and obsess about the customer. That's why one of their core values is customer obsession. They obsess about the customer. In this letter, Jeff mentions that word of mouth is the most powerful customer acquisition method they have. And that's why they are so keen to obsess about the customer. Because a happy customer leads to more happy customers. Another thing they need to focus on in order to serve these customers is they need to have smart people who can build the things, the tools to help the customer. For that reason, one of the main things, if not the main thing, that Amazon has to do is they need to find smart talent, and they need to hire that talent. So Jeff's philosophy on finding talent is to make the talent owners. In order to get employees aligned on the right values, also thinking about the long term and thinking about the customer, Amazon focused on giving their employees equity, making them owners instead of giving them cash. The reason being is they need to think like owners so they can act like owners. They need to think like owners, hence they must be owners. Because employees and smart talent is the single most important thing for Amazon, they focused on it relentlessly. It's not easy to work at Amazon. They set a high bar for hiring. They had a criteria that you could either work hard, you could work smart, or you could work long. But at Amazon, you couldn't choose 2 out of the 3. And another thing they wanted to focus on, they wanted to focus on having their employees build something that matters. Something that they could tell their grandkids about. And these things that matter, they wouldn't be easy to build. Amazon also was very keen on measuring their investments, the effectiveness of these investments. So they could cut the losers, invest in the winners, learn from the successes and failures. And they knew not all investments are gonna pay off. Because Amazon has a focus on the long term and on the things that actually matter, Amazon was focusing on optimizing cash flow instead of optimizing their bookkeeping and accounts. They were spending wisely and lean. And that was the key things that Amazon was focusing on and their philosophy for doing this. Now, they also set a set of goals for the next year, from 1998. Here they are. Throughout the process, Amazon was still learning how to bring value to the market. They would do this through sustained investments in systems and infrastructure, all to support outstanding customer service. Again, obsess about the customer. They would do this through convenience, selection, and service. And they see their big challenges for 1998 and future on. They would see this to be in prioritizing investments and not so much in finding new ways to expand the business, because they knew they were onto something big. Their focus would be to stay optimistic, but with vigilance, and act with a sense of urgency. This has been a great video. I hope you liked it. Watch my next one right there.